Hello, everybody. My name is Jason Lamb. Today we are going to be covering Class 17. We're going to be going over sports coaches.
Bobby Cox. Teams Bobby Cox managed. So Bobby Cox started his managing career in 1971 and it ended in 2010, and he has managed many different teams, some of which are the New York Yankees from 1971 to 1977, the Atlanta Braves from 1978 to 1981, the Toronto Blue Jays from 1982 to 1985, and then back to Atlanta Braves 1986 to 2010. And the picture there is the win, lose, that kind of stuff of the teams he managed. So some of his accomplishments include that he has been named Manager of the Year 4 times: 1985, 1991, 2004, and 2005, and is one of the only 4 managers to have won the award in both the American and National League. He is also the only person to have won this award in consecutive years. Cox has also been named Manager of the Year by the Sporting News 8 times: 1985, 1991, 1993, 1999, 2002, 2003, 2004, and 2005. Three, two, one, go. Scotty Bowman, retired NHL coach. William Scott Bowman, OC, born in September 18, 1933, is a Canadian retired National Hockey League NHL head coach. He holds a world record for the most wins in league history, with 1,248 wins in regular season and 228 in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and ranked second all time for the most Stanley Cup victories by a player, coach, or consecutive executive with 14. He has coached the St. Louis Blues, Montreal Canadiens, Buffalo Sabres, Pittsburgh Penguins, and Detroit Red Wings. He is currently the senior advisor of the hockey operations for the Chicago Blackhawks. His son Stan is the team general manager. Bowman is regarded as one of the greatest coaches in NHL history. As the head coach, Bowman has won a record 9 Stanley Cup championships, 5 of the Canadiens, 1973, 1976, 1977, 1978, and 1979. 1 with the Penguins, 1992, and 3 with the Red Wings, 1997, 1998, and 2002. He has also won 5 Stanley Cups as a member of the organization's front office. He broke his own record again in the 1995 to 1996 season with 62 wins. His 8 losses in 1976 and through 77 are modern record. His teams also made it to the Stanley Cup Finals a record of 13 times, and the semifinals a record 7. His pay, 1979 to 1980, $890,948 as a coach of the Buffalo Sabres. 1993 to 1994, $1,432,424 as a coach of the Detroit Red Wings. 1996 to 1997, $1,771,909 as a coach of Detroit Red Wings. 1997 to 1998, $1,563,046 as a coach of the Detroit Red Wings. 1998 to 1999, $1,547,104 as the coach of the Detroit Red Wings. 1999 to 2000, $1,552,767 as the coach of Detroit Red Wings. 2000 to 2001, $1,800,002 as the coach of Detroit Red Wings. 2001 to 2002, $1,752,934. Estimated salary based on documented 2000 to 2001 salary as a coach of the Detroit Red Wings. Retired from coaching after the season.
So the next coach we'll be talking about is Long Ping, and she's most famous for women's volleyball. Next slide. So in volleyball, just the basics of the sport, you have three main players, and these players have different roles. You have a spiker, which is mainly responsible for hitting the ball over the net. You have a setter, which is responsible for getting the ball to the spiker. And you have blockers, which are responsible for keeping the ball from going over to their side. So this coach, she was really famous just before she became a coach as a player, and she was so famous and she did such a good job at being a spiker that she was given the nickname the Iron Hammer. And when she became a coach, she actually focused not only on spikers, but she also talked more to the team, because in volleyball, it isn't the best individual, it's the best team. And you might think like, oh, obviously that's pretty clear for any kind of sport, but that's especially true for volleyball, because in volleyball, the main objective of the game is you don't want the ball to fall on your side. You don't want the ball to hit the ground on your side. And in order to do that, 6 people on the team have to all be working together. You know, they have to communicate really well. So you can't have one weak link. You can't have 5 weak links and then one strong person. They all have to be really strong. And then the other advice that she had was that the victory is in the details. And the main thing she said was that if you're focusing on every single point, like in volleyball, it's a really, really long game. It's like it can last for 4 to 6 hours even. So you want to just be focusing on the next point. You want to win this point and then move on to the next point. You don't want to think about the big idea, because if you're focusing on these individual points and you're focusing on winning one of them, then eventually the big picture will fall together. And then the other thing she realized was that as a player, obviously you're just trying to play your best. You know, that's all you can do. That's your only responsibility. But as a coach, you have to think about the players, the training, the competition, and even the elements off the court. So is this star player going to play worse today because their mental space is not so good? Or is this person, if they don't play today, they're going to have a really bad streak and they're going to have a really bad mindset? You have to pretty much take into account all these individual elements or all these individual factors, and then as a coach come up with the best idea. And that's pretty clear to see why she got paid so well, because she did her job really well, and her job is hard, so that's why she gets paid like $745,000. But this is at her height, and what I mean by at the height is like, I think it was the early 2000s where she was coaching the US team for the Rio Olympics, and that's how much she was getting paid. Obviously, sometimes she's getting paid less, sometimes she's getting paid, no, this is her height, so sometimes she's getting paid less, but it's not going to be much less. It's still going to be like 100,000, that kind of number. So next slide. So awards that she won 2 women's World Cups, 1 World Championship, and 1 Olympic game gold medal, and these are all when she was playing for the Chinese team. So then later, she actually went on to coach the Chinese women's team to win gold at Rio 2016. So this was the first person to win gold as both a player and a coach. And her career wasn't really linear. She wasn't just like in China her entire career. She actually, I think it was like early 2000s as well, she actually switched from being a coach in China to being a coach in the US. And this actually caused a lot of controversy because people were like, oh, she's betraying the Chinese team. And technically she was, because she actually like led the US team to win against China. But one of the main reasons she cited as like moving to the US was in China, everybody knows who she is. She's like this big celebrity. Everybody in China loves her. And it's really hard for her to disguise herself because she's like 6'2", and most Chinese women aren't 6'2". So you can like put on sunglasses, you can put on makeup, you're still gonna be 6'2". So when she moved to the US, it was actually a lot easier for her to be treated as a normal person. And her teammates, not her teammates, sorry, her, I guess, team, like you can see them in the picture here, the US team was actually super shocked that their coach was this big celebrity. And they realized that because when they went to the Olympics, everybody was asking for a signature, asking for her to touch their baby, things like that. So, really humanizing her was one of the main reasons she went to the US. But eventually, she went back to China. And then in China, people were at first hesitant, like, oh, this person literally just betrayed us. Why do we want her to come back? But then she won the Rio Olympics in 2016 with the Chinese women's team. So everything was good. And that's basically her entire career.
Alright, so I'm gonna be talking about Zonic, who is an esports coach. So, who is Zonic? He's the head coach for this esports team called Astralis. And esports is electronic sports, basically games, video games and stuff. And then the coach, he's a coach for this game called CS:GO, and then which includes a lot of strategy. He used to be a professional player in CS 1.6 and CS Source, and he switched to coaching after he retired. Astralis, the team he's on, is currently one of the best teams in CS:GO. They have 4 majors, which are majors are basically like world championships that are held every year, and he's known for his unique strategies. So what is CS:GO? It's this game involving 5v5 rounds, and the rules are basically the first to win 16 rounds wins, and it involves planting a bomb and defusing the bomb, and it's strategic because you have to manage things like economy. You have to use smokes and stuff, and then, but it's also skill dependent. So, it has 24 million players and it was released in 2012.
So then, next coach that we're going to talk about is this U.S. soccer coach, Greg Berhalter. So his background, he was born in Inglewood, New Jersey, which is on the east coast of the U.S. He played a lot of soccer in his younger years, and when he went to University of North Carolina of Chapel Hill, he actually played college soccer, which is pretty good. And during the college off season, which is a time where the college isn't playing soccer, in 1993 he played for ISL, which is another good soccer team, which is in his area. So he has a decently great background in soccer as a player. So yeah. So right now, after he settled down and had his soccer career, and is right now a coach, he lives in Chicago. He has a family. One of his 4 sons actually plays for Columbus Crew, which is a team that he now coaches. Greg's brother, he actually served as a chief commercial officer for the U.S. Soccer Federation until 2020, which is just last year. His brother actually resigned, which I don't know why, but yeah. So his coaching career, his first team that he actually coached was Hamarby IF. Greg was actually one of the first American coaches of a European team. Hamarby was actually a Swedish team. So, but after just a few years coaching there as a head coach, he was fired for a lack of offensive plays. meaning that he wasn't scoring as many goals as he could have. He was playing more defensively. During the time when he was fired, the team was actually in 8th place in their league, I guess, which isn't very good in the ranking. So the second team that he coached, which is the team that he coaches right now, is the Columbus Crew SC. He's been coaching that team for quite a few years now, about 8 years, since November 6, 2013, as a head coach. For this team, he actually had this team qualify for playoffs for the I think it was Major League Soccer. I think 4 times from 2014 to 2018. In 2015, they actually made the finals of Major League Soccer, shortened to MLS. But they lost the finals. It was at home game against Portland Timbers, and the resulting score was a 2-1 loss. So some of his honors and awards are MLS Western Conference Championship in 2009 and 2011, which is a Major League Soccer like annual championship games. There's actually 2 conferences in this championship game, the Eastern and Western Conference. This usually starts in November of every year and lasts a few months, I guess. Next up is MLS Cup 2011. He actually won that year. It's like previously said, it's an annual championship game. The Western Conference is actually part of the MLS Cup. The MLS Cup is like an award between a team. The first place of the Eastern Championship goes against the first place of the Western Championship, and the team that wins that game is awarded a Major League Soccer Cup. So that's a very high award for soccer, at least for the U.S. And then the last award he has is the Major League Soccer Supporters Shield. He was awarded this honor in 2010 and 2011. This was also part of the Major League Soccer Cup. It's the team that is awarded most points in the season that starts every November. So these achievements are very, very high, and which just proves that he's a good coach.
Sean Foley is a golf coach. Foley is a famous Canadian golf coach who coached many professional players such as Tiger Woods and Justin Rose. He was born in Burlington, Ontario in 1974. Foley played college golf at Tennessee State and started his coaching career at Glen Abbey Golf Club. Foley's coaching style. Foley is known to take a scientific approach to his coaching. One of his trainees, Justin Rose, said that Foley is not focused on making the swing look pretty, but instead focuses on what works better for the player from a scientific point of view. Players he coached. Foley coached many players, such as he coached Tiger Woods, one of the best golf players in the world, from 2010 to 2014. He also coached Justin Rose, the 2018 FedEx Cup champion and an Olympic gold medalist. Coach Danny Willett, the 2016 Masters champion, and Cameron Champ, a 2-time PGA Tour champion. Foley has been voted as the top golf teacher in the world by players on the PGA Tour.
All right. So, Bill Belichick. All right. So, who is Bill Belichick? William Stephen Bill Belichick was born on April 16th of 1952. He is probably one of the most famous football coaches out there, as he currently coaches the New England Patriots, one of the most renowned teams that has played football in recent years. He first began his coaching career in 1975 for the Baltimore Colts, and he began making a name for himself when he began coaching for the New York Giants as their defensive coach. He has currently coached for 46 years and is about to go into his 45th season with his current team, the New England Patriots. He has coached an extremely long amount of time. He is probably one of the most oldest coaches in NFL history, and he has made a genuine name for himself throughout the entire sport, as he has led the New England Patriots to go on to many victories in their sport. Currently, he makes about 12.5 million per year, and is probably one of the highest paid coaches in the entire NFL. His current net worth is around 60 million, and that is because of just how well of a coach he is and just the amount of achievements and awards of which he has been given throughout his entire career. His career has netted him both fame and money, in that his name is well known throughout the entire NFL, and his team is both feared and respected in the seasons. His current coaching style. So Belichick his current coaching style is what he has described it as being close to what the teachings of Sun Tzu in The Art of War. He believes that to win a game, you have to break down the game into three specific parts. You got the weaknesses, the strengths, and you got the situation. With these three specific parts, you have to adapt, change, and utilize these different parts, put them all together in your team, and be able to conquer the enemy team in order to win. Belichick has said that he likes, when he's playing a game with his team, he analyzes the enemy team's weaknesses, looks throughout the enemy's weaknesses throughout the entire first half. Then, after he sees both the weaknesses, the strengths of the enemy, and the weaknesses and the strengths of his current team, he will then, at halftime, go and brief his team onto what they need to change, what they need to focus on, how they should run plays, and basically how they should play the game in order to maximize the amount of yardage and points of which they can get. So during halftime, he briefs his team on this, and then in the second half, usually that is where his team is known to shine, due to the fact that they have already basically learned and have analyzed the enemy team in order to get to a point of which they basically know everything there is to know about their enemy. Currently, Belichick has 6 Super Bowls under his name, and all of them are with his current team, the Patriots. He has led his team to an insane amount of victories, and he holds probably one of the highest amount of Super Bowls ever won by a singular coach. There have only been 2 other head coaches who have shared the 6 Super Bowl wins, and he is one of the 3 of which hold that title. Belichick has been probably one of the longest coaches to ever serve in the NFL, and according to some of the statistics of which we have found, Belichick is the only active head coach to have named the to be named the National Football League's 100th anniversary all-time team head coach. He is probably one of the best head coaches of which has existed in NFL history. And up to this current point, he is still alive and he is doing well with his team. Their most recent win of which they have gotten was the 2019 Super Bowl, in which they basically, yeah. That's it.
Bob Bowman is a swimming coach who was born in Columbia, South Carolina on April 6, 1965. He is the current head coach of the Arizona State Sun Devils, and he served as the head coach of the University of Michigan swimming team from 2005 to 2008. Bowman coached Michael Phelps from 2004 to 2008. He helped Phelps win 8 medals in the 2004 games and 8 Olympic gold medals in the 2008 Beijing Olympics. He was the assistant coach of the 2004 US Olympic team and the head coach of the 2016 US Olympic team.
Alright, so I'm gonna be talking about Jason O'Teal. He's an esports coach as well. Alright, so he's an NA coach, so he's from the United States, and he was born in January 12th, 1987. So he's like 33 years old, and his younger brother is also another former CS:GO pro. He's no longer in the pro scene anymore though. So yeah, and he himself was a CS:GO pro. But yeah. Yeah. Alright, so he's the coach for Team Liquid CS:GO team. So Team Liquid is currently like a top ignore the 5, top 10 team. They're pretty good, but they're definitely nowhere close to like the best. But yeah. Okay. Also, he's also known as Moses. Alright. So his mindset. He talks about this in several articles, but he's very serious about his job, and he's all about the calm and smart approach. Instead of like being passionate, he tries to balance being passionate about a game and still using your brain. So he has these he comes up with these strategies that are very slow and tactical, and they leave no room for mistakes. And yeah. So yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna be going over Frank Vogel, and he's a NBA coach. So Frank Vogel, who is he and what did he do as a childhood? So he was born in June 21, 1973. He grew up in Wildwood Crest, New Jersey, and during his 8th grade year, um, he was featured in a episode of Late Night with David Letterman during the Human Trick segment, in which he spun a basketball on a toothbrush while brushing his teeth, and which is pretty amazing if you ask me, and it's a pretty great award. And on December 10th, 1990, Vogel's childhood home was caught on fire and like everything was destroyed inside it. But he managed to like get out and survive with his mother, which was the two people that were like stuck at that house and needed serious care. And he was graduated from Woodwood High School in 1991, and he has coached over 20 years so far. So what has he done in his career so far? So he is a American professional basketball coach who is the head of Los Angeles Lakers, the National Basketball Association. He previously served as a assistant coach of the Pacers in Philadelphia 76ers and Boston's Celtics. Vogel began his career as the head video coordinator for the Boston Celtics under head coach Rick Pitino. Um, he retained that position for about 5 years before being promoted to assistant coach in the 2000 to 2002 season. On January 30th, 2011, after O'Brien was fired from his head coaching position, Vogel was named the interim coach. As interim coach, Vogel led the Pacers to the playoffs for the first time since 2006. Vogel was officially named as the Pacers head coach on July 6, 2011. But then on May 5th, 2016, following the loss to the Raptors, Pacers president Larry Bird announced that Vogel's contract would not be renewed, citing a need for a new voice to lead the players. Um, so on May 20th, 2016, Vogel was named the head coach of the Orlando Magic. He oversaw a young, developing team and dealt with the change in the front office after his first year when Rob Hennigan, the general manager who hired him, was replaced with John Hammond. He went 54 to 110, missing the playoffs both seasons. Uh, on April 2018, Vogel was fired by the Magic after the conclusion of the 2017 to 2018 season. On May 13th, 2019, Vogel was named the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. In his first season with the Lakers, Vogel led the team to a 52 to 19 record and a NBA championship, having the best record in the Western Conference and third best record in the NBA. Vogel was named as the head coach of the 2020 NBA All-Star Game due to the Lakers achievement and the best record in the Western Conference. Vogel would lead the Lakers to the NBA championship, defeating the Portland Trail Blazers, Houston Rockets, and Denver Nuggets 5 game each, and defeating the Miami Heat in 6 games.